Hello and welcome to Kathy's Corner. My name is Kathy Holt. I am a partner and trainer with Stewardship Resources, LLC. Today I would like to talk to you about the importance of the chart of accounts. I have talked to so many finance teams who are frustrated because their financial reporting does not have the information that they need to make informed and wise financial decisions for their church. One of the first steps that I always go through with them in addressing that issue is to take a look at their chart of accounts. And the reason for that is the foundation to any financial program is, you guessed it, the chart of accounts. In today's video, I will be talking about the importance of the chart of accounts, what it is, how it's divided, and show the difference in chart of account items between regular accounting programs and fund accounting programs. So what is a chart of accounts and why is it so important? It is the list of items that's used to tell the story of every financial transaction. And the information that is going to appear on financial reports will be a summary of all the transactions coded to each chart of account item. If you have a well-designed chart of accounts, and that chart of accounts is used correctly when making entries, then your accounting system will produce reports that are showing the information needed by the finance team to make informed and wise financial decisions. Now, the chart of accounts are divided into several groups. So first, let's talk about the items that will show on the balance sheet. And those would be assets, liabilities, and equity items. Now, let me give you an example of accounts that will fall under each one of these categories. The assets, those are items that are owned by the church. So for most churches, that would be items such as their checking and savings accounts, their investment accounts, and perhaps fixed asset accounts such as land and buildings and equipment. The next group we'll talk about on the balance sheet is liability items. Now that's items that are owed by the church. It's items that are owed by the church. And those would include payroll taxes payable. The church has a mortgage or another type of loan, it would be that. Now you can track restricted fund balances through liability accounts as well. The last group of items that you will see on a balance sheet would be the equity items. And this will depend on what kind of accounting program that you have. For most accounting programs, and let's take QuickBooks as an example, the balance of the equity account will increase or decrease only at the close of the financial year by the net total of annual income less the total of annual expenses. And there is just one equity account. In a fund accounting program, and let's use PowerChurch Plus as an example, you can track the restricted balances through liability accounts, or you can set up separate equity accounts that hold the restricted balance for every restricted fund. In a fund accounting program, entries to restricted income accounts and entries to restricted expense accounts will automatically flow to their matching equity account. Now, in a fund accounting program, the equity balance for each equity account changes automatically as transactions are entered, not just at the end of the year. And that is why you can track the balances through equity accounts instead of liability accounts. And you also have the benefit of seeing the income and expense totals for each restricted fund. Let's move on to the items that will show on an income and expense statement. And those would be income items and expense items. And let me give you some examples of each. Now, income items, this will depend on the type of accounting program that you have. For most accounting programs, like QuickBooks, your unrestricted income will come in through an income item like time income. For restricted income, you will track the income in through a separate liability account for each restricted fund. In a fund accounting program like PowerChurch Plus, your unrestricted income can be entered through like a tithes income. And your restricted income, now here you have a choice. You can, like QuickBooks, track the restricted balances through a liability accounts or take advantage of having a fund accounting program. And you can use restricted income accounts like building fund income or missions income. Okay, so the last item we're going to talk about on our income and expense statement are the expense items. And once again, this will depend on the type of accounting program that you have. For most accounting programs, like QuickBooks, when you are spending unrestricted income, you'll be using expense items like payroll expenses, admin expenses, utility expenses, ministry expenses, and such. And in most accounting programs, when you are spending restricted money, you will be tracking the out of those expenses through liability accounts. And those will be separate liability accounts. In a fund accounting program like PowerChurch Plus, when you are spending unrestricted income, you will use expense items like payroll expenses, admin expenses, utilities expenses, ministry expenses, and such. In a fund accounting program, when you are spending restricted income, you can, like for QuickBooks, track the restricted balances through those separate liability accounts, or take advantage of having a fund accounting program, and you can set up restricted expense accounts like building fund expenses and missions expenses that have a matching income, a matching building fund income, a matching missions expense income, a matching missions income. Now, keep in mind that in a fund accounting program, you can set the restricted income and restricted expense accounts to automatically flow to their own matching equity account. And that is how you track restricted fund balances in a fund accounting program. Now, in a fund accounting program, there are additional setup options to track restricted funds, such as using release and transfer accounts, but I will not be going over any of those options during this video. My goal today was to talk about the chart of accounts and how important it is, because it is the foundation of every accounting software. No matter what accounting program that you choose, there is not one chart of accounts that will work for every church. With that being said, it is vitally important to plan the chart of account items that will tell the financial story of your church and give the finance team the information they need to make informed and wise financial decisions for your church. If you are interested in learning more about chart of accounts planning, check out some helpful items in the resource section below. And it has been a pleasure to share this information with you today. As always, if you have any questions or need help, please feel free to contact me at the phone number or the email below. Please like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, God bless you and have a fantastic day.